Hello, what's up, A to Z Sports Nashville? Happy Tuesday morning. I'm Easton Freeze, joined by JT Runke. It's another Easton and JT show as the search for Austin Stanley continues. We've employed a congressional task force to investigate where exactly our boy has gone. We'll let you know if there are any developments in that story. But in the meantime, you're stuck with us, and we're talking about a Titans victory on Sunday, flipping the switch. That's what happened for the team as a whole in the fourth quarter. That's what happened for Calvin Ridley, finally turning it on. We're going to talk about sustainability today. We're going to talk about where the Titans can go from here, what they can take from their sloppy, strange, fortuitous win on Sunday and roll forward into a pretty gettable Raiders week 6. I'm sure the Raiders are saying the exact same thing about the Titans, as they should. Both teams could really use a win here. I guess the Raiders more so than the Titans after the Raiders got stomped by the Colts. You thought the Titans lost that to the Colts. The Raiders got stomped by the Colts, and so they're looking to get off the schneid. For the Titans part, they're probably just looking to, get their first back-to-back wins since I don't know. Derrick Henry ran for 2,000 yards. When was the last time they won back-to-back games? When was the last time they won back-to-back road games?
The last time they won back-to-back games was the Green Bay game, the Todd Downing incident.
That's right. So, that was this 2022, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So time flies when you're not having fun. They could change that this week and get back-to-back wins, if and only if they're able to roll some of these things that they did at the end of week 5 into week 6. So we're going to talk about what gave you the most hope from week 6. We're going to talk about Calvin Ridley figuring it out. And then we're going to throw some shade here on the Tuesday. It's going to be a good show. JT, excited to be here talking Titans with you. Before we get started, tell the folks what they need to do.
Yeah, good morning, everybody in the chat. What's up, A to Z crew? Good morning, Sean. Good morning, Daniel. Good morning, John. Good morning, Robbie. Good to see all of you guys here in the chat this morning. Just need a couple of things from you guys. As Chris Sadler says, I couldn't say it better myself. He says, like the show, sharing is caring. Very important that you guys do that for us because it helps send this show out to the algorithms of all the other Titans fans this morning who may not be seeing it. So make sure you like the show on YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Make sure you're not missing out on any of the content we are putting out here at the A to Z Sports channel. Also on Facebook, make sure you like it. Make sure you like the page and hit that share button at the bottom right corner. It goes a long, long way for us. Good to see all of you guys here this morning. Yes, where's Austin? We thought Austin was going to be back today. Within the planning meetings, is the schedule was that we get him out of that prison in South America.
That's right.
We get him to the witness protection program house somewhere in a undisclosed location. And then he's back today, but something must have gone awry.
Something went wrong with the evac team. The exfil did not go as planned.
We've gone dark, so we must figure things out.
He is adrift in the wind somewhere in South America. Dangerous times for Austin Stanley. Meanwhile, we're talking about the Tennessee Titans who are 1-4. So let's get it started officially. Let's get the energy up here on a Tuesday morning. Welcome in to the A to Z Sports morning show, live every weekday morning, powered by BTA Sports. We're live at 8:10 Central Time, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Our links are tweeted out segment by segment on our Twitter feed at ATOZ Sports. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok for more Titans coverage, and leave us a 5-star Google review for A to Z Sports. We really appreciate those. Got to thank our sponsors for making the show happen and helping out you guys at home. Wilson County Hyundai. Make Wilson County Hyundai a part of your new car buying process in Lebanon or at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Bone and Joint Institute, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedics and sports medicine, boneandjointtn.org. And Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs, local and online at bartondrury.com. Botero Carts. Life is short. Buy a golf cart with 2 locations to serve you in Columbia and Gallatin, boterocarts.com. And Window Nation. Buy 2 windows and you'll get 2 for free. Make no payments for 2 years at windownation.com. JT, Titans flip the switch. And let's talk about some hope today. That's, speaking frankly, I'm not sure how many victory weeks we're going to get this year. So when we get them, We got to really lean in. When we stumble into a win, we got to lean into that hope, baby, because there is reason for hope from this game. As strange a win as it was, the actual win-loss factor, there was a lot of luck involved, obviously, a lot of luck. But the luck involved for winning the game, to me, doesn't really have a whole lot to do with the fact that the Titans, as an operation, dramatically improved at the end of the game. I guess what I'm saying is, had one of those extremely lucky things that led to the actual win not happened, and the Titans came up just short, I still would be talking this week about how, wow, in that fourth quarter, things came together. Look at this team. They caught the ball. They passed the ball more accurately. They pass protected well. They moved up and down, and they still would have scored a touchdown or two in the instance they came up just short. So awesome. If they had scored the 2 touchdowns to make it a 2-point game, and the Cardinals had not, pretty, I would say foolishly, but at the very least disrespectfully, decided to run on 3rd and 8 in their own territory down 2, which is as conservative and scared as it gets, frankly. If they had just converted there and bled the clock out and the Titans lost by 2, I still think our conversation would be like, wow, they really turned it on there. How about that? So how can they take that into next week? What from that, which we kind of talked about yesterday, Zach and I, besides Imari DiMarcado doing the thing that every football player is screamed at not to do, how do you explain what happened to this Titans team? And I don't think there's a great answer besides momentum, just generally momentum, which is a thing. And this team clearly felt it, and it worked for them. But they have to keep it going. And we'll talk about it more later in the week, I'm sure, because we want to hear from the Titans players and coaches on this. But I think everybody's minds at some point in the last 24 hours went to, when was the last time the Titans won? November 24th, 2024 in Houston. Boy, was that a long time ago. Okay, what happened immediately following that? That was the Washington game. That was the Jarvis Brownlee, it's too cold, it's 45 degrees outside game. That was the we're down 28-0 immediately. The Brian Robinson has 170 yards in the first quarter and change, and this team looks listless and nothing matters because you're in such a deep hole that you're just going to be trailing all game. And Will Levis actually looked pretty decent in that game. That's because they were playing shell coverages literally for 45 minutes. So you can't do that. I guess we just ask the question now, JT, because there's a lot of directions we can go here, and I'm stumbling over which direction to take this in. Let's just ask the question to the audience: what gave you let's just try to put our finger on what gave you the most hope for this Titans team from that game. I want folks to try to distill it in your minds. What was the thing that gave you the most hope from this game going forward? We'll talk about that. We'll dive into all of your comments in detail while you guys are answering in the comments. Let me tell you about our friends over at Votero Carts, where life is short, so you should buy a golf cart. They are a local operation. We love supporting our local businesses here in the Middle Tennessee area. They are open 7 days a week, full service sales and rental dealership, 0% financing for 36 months. Carts starting at just $6,800. 2 locations to serve you in Columbia or in Gallatin. So wherever you're at in Middle Tennessee, there's a Botero Carts location somewhere near you. No dealer fee, no credit card fees, no credit needed option. The carts are stored indoors, kept in tip-top shape for you. Life is short. Go buy a golf cart. Carts are fun. Who doesn't want a golf cart? I know I want a golf cart. And eventually one day when I am living in a place where I have room to put a golf cart, I'm going to get a golf cart. And I'll probably do it from our friends at Botero Carts.
Yeah, also got to shout out our friends over at BTA Sports. Easton, did we get to a week where both of us came out on the winning end?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that was going to ruin my ad read, but I did once again, and I could not have done it without our friends over at BTA. Easton might catch up to me someday in the future.
It's a long season, but
BTA,
we're down.
Better for bettors. Their insight has helped myself, at least, every single week to find that edge to put me over the top in terms of my betting, and you can do the same. Just use the link in the show description or right below the title, or use our code ATOZ to get your 3-day free trial turned into a 14-day free trial. That's 2 weeks to try it out. Use their insight to gain an edge on your bets. And then after that, it's $9.99 for the week. BTA, where insight meets instinct.
Yeah, unfortunately, the feisty long dogs are kind of dead in the NFL right now. It's blowout city for the favorites. There's a clear divide between the good teams and the bad teams. So bets like the Raiders by a touchdown or the Bengals by a touchdown and a field goal, they just don't. The Bengals gave it a shot at least. The Raiders, listless. And then Sam Darnold screwed me to get me to that 2-3 record. Sam Darnold throwing an interception at the worst time of the game and losing to a Buccaneers team that is missing 1,000 players. Kind of embarrassing for Seattle. So yet another 2-3 week for me. Not great, but we will get back on the horse. I will finish the year above 500 if it kills me, JT. So we got 12 weeks left. That's a lot. That's a lot. It's 60 more picks to make. That's a lot of picks. I just got to go 60-0. All right. Let's go to the comments. I'll send you to the comments, JT. What have folks said is the thing that gave them the most hope coming out of this game?
Yeah, we start off here. Jeremy says the fourth quarter catches, like proof of concept that
they
the
caught
Titans
the ball.
Can actually catch the ball. I think that's a big one there.
Good.
Titans Kyle says effort. The leaders were out there giving it their all, and I think the entire team fed off of it. I certainly think that L'Jarius Sneed's hustle on the DeMarcado play, even just to put the record straight, L'Jarius Sneed did a lot of running, but did nothing else to get that ball to come out. I want to make that abundantly
glad we're on the
clear.
same page here, because there's been a lot of chatter about the effort, which I respect the effort. It's just
there's been a lot of chatter that L'Jarius Sneed makes that turnover. L'Jarius Sneed did not touch the ball whatsoever. Like,
if he was one step faster, he probably forces the fumble.
Yes,
but
who knows if it goes out of the back? Like, who knows?
Right. Well, and also maybe DeMarcado just heard the footsteps. Sometimes you hear the footsteps, and that's all it takes.
And you get
drop
scared.
The ball,
But like that, I mean, still the effort there is in that moment
admirable,
very admirable, and probably has a team feeding off of that for sure. Camry says second half adjustments, which I think we'll talk about this here in a second.
Yeah. Bookmark that one. Let's come back to that.
Rooney says Cam's accuracy, absolutely. Night and day difference. Jason Dyson says fourth quarter pass protection. Listen, I think the pass protection was pretty good for the entirety of the game. There was no really difference to me, but still for them to hold up in the fourth quarter was very good to see. Darius says the defense played an almost complete game in that whole fourth quarter.
Yes, they did.
We once again, though, the nuance of this situation, we are DeMarcado taking one more step forward to that not being the case.
That's fair. That's fair. But I mean, I turned to you in maybe the very beginning of the second quarter of the game. And that was when we were listless and thinking this week was going to be another absolute drag. And I was like, well, the offense can get something going today, but it's not going to matter if the defense only allows touchdowns all day, because the Cardinals came out and looked like a hot knife through butter. And to the defense's credit, the DeMarcado play, which was a disaster, they sold out to stop the run. It was going to be a 72-yard touchdown. That was really the only play in the final 2.5-ish quarters that the defense wasn't nails on, because they were stout the rest of the game. The only other scoring opportunity the Cardinals had, I guess, is when they had driven just beyond midfield for the Kyler Murray hit in the face fumble, which we didn't give enough run, by the way. That kind of got buried in the
insanity.
For him to get hit in the snap hits him in the face, and then he goes to the blue medical tent. Hilarious timing. I know it was for a foot, and then he came back into the game. But this idea that, in the moment, we're like, wait a minute, that snap sent him to the medical tent. He got hit in the face by the ball so hard that bro's in concussion protocol. What's going on right now? They probably could have scored a field goal from where they were out in the field in that moment, if my memory serves. But other than that, it was 21 points in the first 20 minutes and then nothing the rest of the game.
Yeah, that is fair.
And the defense did make some adjustments. I mean, like at least one, which was let's stop trying to cover Marvin Harrison Jr. with Jalen Armour Davis. Let's let Darius Sneed do that. Yes. And Sneed played well.
Jason said the protection of Cam. It was his answer. Darren said Cam seeing the field and throwing with touch and timing. Cam himself says nothing. The Cardinals gifted the wind to Cam. Good to see that. Jonathan said the elite throws Cam made down the stretch. Fourth quarter play calling. Defense. Here's like, I don't think the play calling changed that much.
Nothing changed on offense. Can we let's go ahead and talk about this? Nothing changed. You know what changed, JT? Two things changed. Can you tell me what they are?
Catching the ball and Cam accurately throwing the ball.
That's right. That's all that changed. The pass protection was the same. The effectiveness of the run game was the same. The ways, it wasn't like they started to, this is where we'll start, we'll go more heavy in the fourth quarter. They were deploying the offense relatively the same. Here's a cut up. This is the first 47-ish minutes of the game. Remember this? Remember how the first 2.5 hours of your life went on Sunday? This is a quick run out, Alec, and another drop from Alec. Okay. And step back. He's got time. Throw, wide open chestnut. Bad throw, bad catch. Let's throw to the running back that can't catch. Cool. Great. Fantastic. Play action. More time. Clean pocket. He's got him. DK wide. Overthrown. Okay. All right. Well, nothing's working. How about now? Step back, time, in rhythm, behind Lockett, and he drops it. Okay, Lockett can't make a play on the ball. Sick. Step back, more time, throws into traffic, and Calvin can't come back to the ball and make a play on the ball. Cool. Okay, step back, clean pocket, in traffic, and shocker, Lockett can't make a catch again. That was the first 2.5 hours of your life on Sunday, in case you'd forgotten. They went from that in the first, I think it was 47 minutes and 20 seconds, first 10 drives. That was a super cut that I put together for you of the first 10 drives. Here's a super cut of the last 3 drives. The last, 12 minutes and 40 seconds. Oh, wrong one. This one. Okay. Cam stepping back. What are they doing different here? He's got time. Throws to Alec, who actually catches the ball. Fantastic. Sits down on the route. Cam steps back. He's got time. Steps up in the pocket. Rips one to Calvin streaking, and Calvin makes a catch. Hilarious, by the way. Okay. Are you good? Great. Stepping back. Throwing in the bucket. Fantastic catch by Gunnar Helm over the shoulder. Gorgeous. Led to a touchdown. A run solution. A screen game that goes for 15 yards. Chigakonkwo blocked up well. How about that? Shout out Randy Jordan for the screen game. Cam with time. Comeback from Alec. Makes a play. Fantastic. All right. I think it was
Lockett.
Okay. Either way. Hilarious okey doke by Chig, who came alive in the fourth quarter, just catching the ball and then juking a guy. Cam. Final drive. Another fantastic one to Chig up the middle. Gets him into scoring position, at least. And then, of course, the throw of the game. Couldn't have walked down the field and handed it to Calvin Ridley better than that. So if you watch those clips are on my Twitter, if you want to go back and compare and contrast, nothing changed besides catching the ball. They caught the ball. So more anti-adjustment propaganda, I guess, on our part, like the idea that adjustments are overblown a little bit. Really, this was just an execution thing. So it's not to take anything away from the coaching staff. It's just to commend the players for figuring it out, JT.
Absolutely. And I think Donald brings up a good question. Cam really likes to force the ball into coverage. Another one you didn't put in there was the one where he throws it, the same thing that he was doing with Alec and Lockett and all those guys in the first 2.5 quarters or so. He did to Calvin on that one of those last 3 drives where he threw it into almost triple coverage, and it just happens to be a really good ball.
It worked out.
And so I saw another comment where it was like, hey, it feels like Cam is finally settling in. I would still also push back on the idea that Cam was settling in. That's what Cam is good at. Like, Cam only seems to settle in, and this goes back to his Miami tape. He only settles in when the game is on the line or there's immense pressure on him. Like, outside of that, Cam has looked pretty, like average to below average. And that's the biggest thing for me. Like, how do our show is like, how, like, they need to flip the switch for good. How do you get that? It's Cam playing like that in the 2-minute drills in the last part of the game for an extended period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Just like having that sense of urgency in that game would make it so much easier for this team. And once again, I'm not like that ball to
Cam basher, Cam hater, JT Runke. He thinks Cam stinks.
In defaults, is that man threw an interception that would have fully cost us the game. That was a tip ball. Like, I'm not the interception. I'm not putting on.
No, he's the tipped balls thing. Remember how that was a massive narrative for
it also
7
like
days
that also
in training camp?
happened a lot in this game as well. Like, I tweeted out.
It's kind of creeping back in, right? I mean,
it is, but
the
it's
regular
not
season
just
started and it went away, but now we're like, because there was 2 tip balls this week. There was at least 1 tip ball the previous week. It's a thing now.
Yes,
Sorry,
I will say as well though, like, they're happening, but they always happen at the most inopportune time. They always happen on third when they have like the concept and Cam tries to sidearm it when he really doesn't need to, and then the ball is tipped and it's over. And I'm like,
yeah, can we get a 1st and 10 in rhythm tip? Can we you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
It was 2nd and 4 and the ball got tipped. All right, it's not the highest leverage play.
Rhino has big, however many exclamation points I can put on this one right here. Never realized how many open guys he misses. Bork says I agree. Hypnotize Cam, make him think it's a 2-minute drill every single down. Like, just get him in that mode, because that's just like there are so many times that, like, in all of his tape, that it's just like that's where the cool and the calm composure that we that we see from him a lot is the fact that it happens at those moments where the game is on the line, the tension is the highest, and he executes. And that's where it's the clutch gene that so many people in the comments talk about all the time. But in 8.5 minutes left in the second quarter, and it's 2nd and 7, and you're driving and would really like to get another set of downs, it just hasn't happened yet. And like, we just need to see more of that. And I understand it's 5 games, and maybe this, I talked about it on Sunday, like, Cam just seemed to kind of get it on those last 3 drives. Maybe that translates into next week, which, by the way, like, a Raiders team whose defense outside of Max Crosby is, probably
terrible.
worse than what the Cardinals had.
Yes.
Somehow, by the way, the Titans are 4.5-point underdogs, which I think is pretty crazy for that game.
Better than it was. I think it opened 5.5. So
either way, like, we just need to see Cam get it in the mundane. He gets it in the 2-minute drill, but in the mundane, he doesn't. So
I've got a couple graphs to show, and I want to talk about what I think Cam needs to be able to show that the rest of the game. But first, let me tell our friends about one of our newest sponsors, Window Nation. Buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free. That's the deal going on right now. It was a September only deal, and Window Nation said, we'll extend this to October, but only October. So you have until the end of this month. Do not miss out on Window Nation's most popular offer. All you have to do is call them at 866-90-NATION. That's 866-90-NATION. Schedule a fast, free estimate now with the pros at Window Nation, as our buddy Austin Stanley did before he went off the grid and got lost somewhere in South America. WindowNation.com. Whether you have old drafty windows or cheap builder grade windows, now is the best time to replace your windows. Now in the fall, before the winter turns, before the heat bill starts to hit your wallet, protect your home ahead of that weather. Get replacement windows from WindowNation.com. Top quality, energy efficient windows from a trusted company, all at a reasonable price. Again, it's buy 2 windows and get 2 for free, and you have to make 0 payments on them. That's right, 0 payments for 2 whole years. No monthly payments, no down payments, no interest until 2027 on your 4 windows, because you got 2 for free for buying 2 of them. So check them out, 866-90-NATION or WindowNation.com.
Yeah, also shout out our friends over at BTA Sports. Once again, use the link in the description or right below the show title on Facebook here to get your 3-day free trial turned into a 14-day free trial. BTA, better for betters.
Now, this doesn't have to do with Cam specifically, but I just want to show it because it's interesting. Our buddy Zach Lyons, I don't know if he went to RBDSM and did this by hand or whether he found it. I know that he's gotten in on some of this graphing before, so I don't want to take away if he put the work forward to do this. Well done to Zach. Wrong one. Here, this is the entire league from this past weekend, first half. As you can see, the Titans defense is slightly below average. Offense is as below average as humanly possible. Very, 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 very bad. The worst in the league. Then in the second half, this is the full second half, the Titans defense, very stout. Offense, very good. Up with the Colts and the Commanders and the Texans who scored a quadrillion points on the listless Ravens. A good place to be in the second half of the game. And then if you do just the fourth quarter, dadgummit, just the fourth quarter, the Titans defense a little bit shakier, but still well above average. The offense better. The Bengals being up there is hilarious.
That Zach Taylor coaching tree. I'll tell you what.
The fighting Zach Taylors trying to cover the spread against the Lions, which they did not, thanks for nothing. But even the Titans are surpassing them when it comes to the Broncos, who are roaring back against the Eagles, didn't hold a candle in the fourth quarter to what the Titans were doing offensively. The last time we saw this Titans team go from this to this to this in a game, get better as the game goes on, was when, JT? Throwing it to you because I don't know.
It's a great question. Maybe in that Houston game last year, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I'm not even sure that one.
I mean, maybe Will Levis's win over the Dolphins.
Yeah, sure. That's probably a good answer, actually. And even that one's kind of weird in a sense too, because that was a all nothing and then all something game, kind of like this one where it just So, and that was a game where this team looked good in a 2-minute drill specifically as well. Turns out 2-minute drills are exciting. Folks in the comments are saying the Miami comeback. It may be. So what was that? 2023, right? Still Vrabel. With Cam, you talk about needing him to feel that, whether it's feeling the urgency or feeling the rhythm. I don't think it's urgency. I don't think he has a lack of. Now, I think he sometimes looks like he has a lack of urgency with how long he holds the ball and how he moves back there. But I think that's more a mechanics thing to me, an internal clock thing than it is an actual urgency to move the ball and stay in phase in the game. To me, Cam he's a rhythm shooter. Like he's a rhythm 3-point shooter who kind of like a college 3-point shooter where they really are streaky. It's like in March Madness every year, there's a team that's really highly seeded and they go down real early. And it's like, how did Alabama score 42 points against the, Panera Bread State? And it's because it's because Alabama's entire offense is predicated on being hot from the perimeter. And it's like, oh, well, they shot 13% for three. They went 3 of 19 from that would be the reason why. And they just get cold. I don't think Cam is a threes or nothing shooter, but I do think that he's somebody that, and we saw this in college, is streaky, needs a domino to fall to get the train rolling. And that's why this is not like me trying to take the blame off of Cam and put it onto his teammates, because this is a shortcoming of Cam's that he eventually needs to be able to overcome. But right now, for a rookie in his first 2 months of his NFL career, this is where your playmakers lift you a little bit. It's where they raise the tide for the quarterback. And it's a scratch your back and I'll scratch yours kind of thing. Or you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours kind of thing. If in that first cut up we showed any of these shots drop, right? If the chestnut over the shoulder bucket drop goes, if Ellick making a play on one of those balls that was, in particular, the one that was the most egregious drop, but they were both going to be first downs. The second drop where it hits him like in the chest and bounces off his chest or whatever. You make one of those completions and you move the chains, and I think you start to feel him get into rhythm in a way that we finally felt at the end of the game. And this is all just like opinion of mine. This is not really based on anything tangible. But he is somebody that when I think back to watching him in college, it felt just like this, JT, where once you got a shot to drop and the chain started moving and the wheels started rolling, he was off to the races. And so I don't know how you fix that as a coaching staff, because you can't, again, they can't go out there and catch the ball for the players. They can't go out there and throw the ball better for Cam. All you can do is what Callahan said he told Cam at halftime yesterday. He told us, and I'm paraphrasing, he was like, just go out there, make sure your feet are set, make sure your eyes are in the right place, and throw the ball. It's all you can do. It's all I need you to do. Set your feet, look in the right places. You know where your eyes are supposed to be. Make them go to the right places at the right times. Be set in your foundation and throw the ball like Cam Ward can throw the ball. And he eventually did that.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing that Callahan needed to do for him, because we talked about at the halftime show, I think I said verbatim that he kind of looked a little deer in headlight-ish out there in the first half, which it's not necessarily like he's seeing ghost out there, but it felt like there were a lot of things open, and Cam started to actually like be scared to throw the ball. Like he was not trusting himself to just let it rip, and things needed to happen. It's kind of like it's one of those things, like when it's when you're getting into a pool for the first time, like in the spring, and it's really, really cold, and you're like, I don't want to jump in. And then you just got to do it. That's Cam. You got to go, because it's going to get better if you do. And that's exactly what I think Brian Callahan relayed to Cam Ward at halftime, is to just trust what you're doing out there, because Cam absolutely wasn't doing that. And I think that's the biggest thing. Just like, I think that is part of the conversation, right? Is that it would be okay to see more of it would be okay to see more of Cam just trying things, right? Being able to see what he can do and can't, and growing as that player. But the second that he doesn't even try because he's too afraid that he's going to put the ball not on target, or cause a turnover for his team, like that's the thing where you can't have that. You need to have Cam being able to rip the ball whenever he wants and not having him be scared. And that's on the pass catchers to then build confidence that he knows they're going to catch it. That's on, as you said, Darren, right here, that's on building that confidence early with early passes. I think getting more tight ends involved, whether it is Gunnar Helm or Chigakonkwo, is very important for this team going forward. But I think that's, you got to build that confidence early.
Well, as Duran said, obviously easy early passes. Brandon says Cam has to take the profit early in the game. Stop hunting. There's definitely an element to this too. If I have to make a chief criticism of Cam, it is that he's trying to be too honorable in his end of game passing chart. Like, a lot of joking has been done about some of the passing charts this year. It's like, Jalen Hurts threw the ball 19 times today, and one of them, traveled more than 5 air yards. There's an epidemic in the NFL of passing games doing nothing downfield, and that's in large part because of the way the defenses are being run, and also pass protection in general being not the greatest it's ever been in history right now. That being said, Cam's passing chart from this game looks good. It is a very healthy mix of 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 plus yard, air yard attempts and completions. And that's nice. That's good. His ADOT in this game was good. However, when in particular the Titans' run game is working the way that it did, again, Tony Pollard ran the ball quite well yesterday. The stat line, somewhat pedestrian looking, right? 14 carries, 67 yards, I believe, 1 touchdown. Perfectly nice day at the office. But when you look at the actual chart, you see that of the 14 carries, half of them went for 5 or more yards. which for those of you keeping track at home is half of a first down. Only 2 of them were stopped for a loss. So that means the 5 that weren't stopped for a loss but didn't go for 5 yards were between 0 and 5 yard gains. And on first, second down, if you're getting 2 or 3 or 4 yards, that's still living in phase, right? So the majority of his runs, and a lot of them up the middle behind the offensive line, which we're not talking a whole lot about right now, but they deserve praise absolutely. And I'm writing about them at AtoZSports.com today. It is setting Cam up to be able to take the underneath stuff. And you brought up a comment earlier that mentioned it. He left a lot of yards on the field, like 500 yards of offense in this game were left out there on the field. And that's going to happen with a rookie. But especially in those earlier parts of the game, there was a lot of underneath stuff that would have resulted in 3, 4, 5 yard completions that, as long as the Titans were running the ball the way that they were, are going to keep you moving the chains and keep you in phase. And I really do think there's something to the fact that we talked about this pre-draft or pre-season, post-draft. One of the biggest differences, from what I've been told, between Cam's offense in college and Cam's offense now is that in college, Cam read top to bottom. He went long ball, short ball in his progression where his eyes went. A lot of what Callahan's offense and NFL offenses in general are going to ask you to do right now is read bottom to top. And that's a real oversimplification of a lot of these reads. But generally speaking, I think that I think it's pretty clear just watching it. You don't have to be an expert to see. Clearly, he's not looking underneath first, like ever. And that can't be right. There are definitely some play calls where the first read is supposed to be the 5 yard completion. And so when you watch the tape and you see so many of those 4 and 5 and 6 yard completion, little out routes, little dumps across the middle being entirely ignored for the whole shot down the far sideline, for Calvin Ridley screaming across the middle of the field, for Alec Ironman coming back to the ball in double coverage, trying to fit it into a real tight window. Those throws are awesome, and Cam can make them, and Cam has to make them at times in the game. But the big game hunting has to be in moderation, especially when your team is allowing you to play in phase and run a 12-play drive and dink and dunk your way down the field. And the Titans have to lean more into that with Cam to get him to where he needs to be. And Cam has to be willing to lean into that more. And I think that they just have to continue to beat it into his head, because I know that they are. And I know that Cam probably understands it on the whiteboard, but he has to do it on Sundays.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, yeah, when you said, getting that more reps in something that is totally different than what he's done before is going to be the biggest thing. And that starts with the easiest things possible. You got to get those easy first reads built into the beginning of the game to get him going, because then, like you said, it's a domino effect for him at times.
Yeah. We've talked a lot about Cam flipping the switch. Let's talk about his top receiver flipping the switch, the guy on the overlay right here, Calvin Ridley. This was his biggest game by far. This was a game that I think we're all hoping can be the turning point game for Calvin Ridley. And I think when you look at his 2024 season, there's a parallel here that we can, and it's hopeful for sure. But I think it's a reason for hope that may result in Calvin finally becoming the guy that we were all hoping to see this year. Let's talk about that, JT, as soon as you tell our friends about the Bone and Joint Institute.
Yes, the Bone and Joint Institute, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedics and sports medicine. Don't fumble your recovery, and do so get better with our friends over at the Bone and Joint Institute. Whenever you get hurt in life, you have to know who to trust. The Bone and Joint Institute is located in Franklin with over a dozen specialists who can help you through any type of injury. They have a state-of-the-art rehab facility on campus to help your recovery, which includes everything under one roof for your convenience, whether that's the clinic, testing, imaging, surgery, or rehab. They've got you covered. To schedule an appointment, go to boneandjointtn.org.
Shout out to our friends at the BTA Sports app. Would you let me do my job, JT? Dadgummit. I click that part. Get your hands off your mouse. Better for betters. BTA Sports dominating the game. We use them. Download the app today with the link in the description below to get a 14-day free trial. They will make you money as a bettor. I promise you will not regret signing up for BTA Sports today. Do it with our link to turn a 3-day free trial into a 14-day free trial, and you can get in there and really tinker for the next 2 weeks and make all the money. So check them out, BTA Sports. All right, let's ask our second question, JT. Get the chat back involved here. Is this the game that Calvin Ridley flipped the switch? Is this the turning point for Calvin Ridley? And we've got a cut up of his that we'll watch some of his, actually we'll watch all of his completions from this past game. 5 completions on 10 attempts. So not exactly lighting the world on fire in that sense, but I'm trying to find his stat line real quick. He went for 131 yards, 5 of 10 for 131 yards, 26.2 yards per reception, 47-yard bomb at the end of the game was his long of the day, 21 yards after the catch. Easily his best day of the season. Let's get that question to the chat. Is this the game that flips the switch for Calvin Ridley? As I pull up some of his tape here. So here's Calvin. And you'll see him highlighted by the red circle on each of these plays. JT, generally speaking, first of all, let's point out the fact that maybe the most reliable thing on this entire team for the past year has been Calvin Ridley running a comeback route. Yes. Even when Calvin can't play, the boy can run the heck out of a comeback route. And they did it well in those first 2 clips. Now here he is pushing the ball down the field and stumbling and bumbling, but still catching the ball, which is a step in the right direction for sure. This next one is also, this is a short comeback, sit down at the sticks. Yep. And then this final one is the play of the game, obviously. Love how he calls for the ball immediately. He knows he has outside leverage, one-on-one. Just drop it in a bucket, and Cam does.
Yeah.
Great play.
Wide receiver 1 type stuff.
Yeah, well, finally. But the definition of better late than never in week 5. It's October, but thanks for showing up. What are folks in the comments saying about whether or not they believe Calvin has flipped the switch or not?
Yeah, Keelan starts us off and says no. Jeffrey says no. Brandon says no. Kendall with some positivity here says yes. Darius also says yes. King JP says not convinced that it is. Jack says maybe, but I need to see him catch the ball more consistently. He had 2 drops in this game. 1 drop.
1 real drop for sure, and then the other one was droppy-ish. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Droppy.
Fair enough. Duran says yes for maybe 5 games.
Oh, okay.
We'll see. Orlando says hopefully. Ladies says no. Eric says I thought it was a Cam Ward question. Well, no on Calvin. Nice, good reading.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So like yes. Here from Deborah. Let's see what else. Yeah, I mean, listen, not a lot of confidence that this is the game that gets him going for sure. I mean, the bottom line is that maybe if we get through a game where Calvin Ridley has 0 drops, it may be another point in the direction of people starting to trust him. But I think that's fair. Like if he goes a game and catches all of his targets, I think you'd get people more on board than they are right now.
JT, I am buying it. This is the Calvin that we saw at the beginning of the year before the season began in training camp. It's the Calvin that we saw at the end of the 2024 season, the Calvin that somehow, despite really not showing up at all in the first 6 weeks, he went longer last year without really having an impact game of wide receiver 1 proportion. He still got to 1,000 yards. Here's the splits from last year. First 6 weeks versus last 11 games. 183 yards for the first 6 games, 30.5 yards per game. He finished with 834 yards over the final 11 games, 75.8 yards per game. And it was sparked by a breakout game in week 7. 15 targets, 10 catches, 143 yards. His games before that, 3 for 7 for 50, 4 of 6 for 77. This stretch is crazy. These 3 weeks are insane. 1 of 3 for 9 yards. Yep. 1 of 3 for 5 yards. 0 of 8 for 0 yards. That Indianapolis game where they were just desperate to get him the ball and it wasn't
the
working.
iconic Calvin clip afterwards. So.
Yeah, got to give me the ball earlier, champ. Okay. And then in week 6, 3 of 9 for 42 yards. So they were peppering him those first 6 weeks. He was not catching any of those balls. A lot of them weren't good balls to his defense. It was a Will Levis issue as well. And then in week 7, 10 catches on 15 targets against Detroit. Hilarious, by the way, that it came in that game, the Detroit game where they lost 52-14. Now they were in the game in the first half, but it just got so out of hand. That was one of the special team disaster games. Because I think Detroit, did they have 2 touchdowns off of returns in that game?
Sounds right.
Or maybe like 1 punt return for a touchdown, 1 kick return for like 80 yards or something.
Yeah.
That was the game that sticks in my mind in terms of special teams disasters last year. And so they kill the Titans, but Calvin personally goes off 10 for 15 for 143 yards. And from there, he's getting 73, 84, 58, 93, 45, 59, 41, 78, 84, 76. He was consistently impacting the game the rest of the season. Now in week 5, that was week 7 last year. Week 5 this year is when he gets his first triple-digit yard game, his first big impact game. And this is a detail that matters to me. He's not just winning on the easy stuff, the sit down at the sticks, the Calvin Ridley patented comeback route to the sideline, which is just free money, but he's also winning crossing 2 safeties down the middle of the field. He's winning with one-on-one press coverage on the perimeter and catching an over the shoulder ball, throwing a whole shot into the bucket. He's doing the big boy downfield things that you're hoping Calvin Ridley's speed and athleticism allows you to do. You're getting to push the ball down the field in a big way that you're hoping Calvin is the one. Like, I think Chim Dike, they tried to do that obviously with, and I think if Cam can connect on some of those, then that can be an element of his game as well. But outside of Chim, who's a rookie, and there's chemistry things there that you have to worry about. He and Calvin were supposed to have this connection. We saw it all summer. We talked about it all summer. When we needed it most, it disappeared in the month of September. I think now it is back. I do. And maybe that is wishful thinking, but I do think that Calvin's the kind of guy, you want to talk about a rhythm shooter. Calvin to me is a rhythm player. And once he gets into phase, he gets a game like this under his belt, I think he can be off to the races. And against a Raiders defense, as you pointed out, that he should not have any issues against. Next week, he should be able to build on it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you look at Calvin, first of all, the glasses worked. So good job, I guess.
I've seen enough. Tyke Tolbert, you're a genius. You're a genius, Tyke Tolbert.
But yeah, the way that he kind of needs that confidence boost, that reminder that he is the number one and treated as such, that little tiny part of diva that Calvin Ridley has that is still in there, in that player who's 30 but only like what now 27 on paper or something like that.
27-year-old legs. Yeah. We carbon dated his legs to begin the year.
Exactly.
And that's what they said.
But like getting that and then putting it into practice is what he needed the most. Like, we know that he's a guy who can do all these things we're watching right now. However, like it also requires a little bit, like that ball, that's a Calvin Ridley drop the past couple of weeks.
Yes.
Like, I think that's fair to say. And like he feels like he got to the ground and like almost died on that one in the live reaction of it.
He couldn't believe that he
moment.
caught he fell to his knees in happiness that he caught the ball.
Exactly. And so, like, hopefully that confidence sticks with him. It sounds like when we talked to him, or at least when you talked to him a week and a half ago or so, in the locker room, it felt like he was a guy who was missing some of that confidence. And I think he said as much and alluded to it. Like, now that he has it, I think you'll see better results. Now, will that mean that, hey, this is what we're going to see from him every week? I don't know, because I still think like you need to ask more of Cam in those situations to make that work in the mundane parts, when the entirety of our show before this topic. But it was a good sign. And like, I am also cautiously optimistic that Calvin Ridley can continue to do that on a consistent basis.
as Jason says in the comments, puts a bow on this nicely, Calvin Ridley earned that paycheck on Sunday. Now I need consistency from him. Absolutely. He's got to keep that switch flipped on now that it has been flipped on a month into the season. JT, I think it's time to throw some shade. So, folks in the chat, go ahead and get your shade in. We'll read through all the shade. I'll throw some shade. JT will throw some shade. While you guys are sending your shade, let me tell you about our friends over at Barton Drury Insurance Group. Local, fantastic option if you are in the Middle Tennessee area to support a local insurance shop at bartondrury.com. They have customized solutions for all of your insurance needs. They're a one-stop shop for both your personal and business insurance. Number of different options and plans at your disposal. The responsiveness and the experience and the level of expertise that their service team provides is top-notch. They sell everything from employee benefits, 401k planning, life insurance, workers' comp, liability, auto, property, umbrella, and surety bonds. And they strive to provide excellent service, but also want to take the time to make sure someone understands their insurance policies. Check them out today at bartondrury.com. JT, let's throw some shade. Shout out to our friends BTA Sports, dominating the game, powering our morning shows, and shout out to our friends at Wilson County Hyundai. Make Wilson County Hyundai a part of your new car buying process at wilsoncountyhyundai.com or in Lebanon. JT, I'll send you to the chat. What shade are we seeing from the people?
Yeah, let's start with Keelan, who says, shade on Titans fans still rooting for Derrick Henry.
Are we doing this again?
I don't think that's very fair shade.
Who cares?
I think you can like whatever players you like.
Derrick Henry's team, same record as Tony Pollard's team.
This is true. Scott Weaver says,
Derrick Henry, fewer yards than Tony Pollard right now in the season, by the way. How about that?
Does Calvin Ridley have more yards than A.J. Brown right now?
He does.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Bizarro world we live in.
Scott Weaver says, shade on Mime Sanders. What a clown show.
He's been sitting on that since last Thursday.
He's been waiting for that one, ready to rip on that one. Orlando says, shade on the Titans organization for not issuing a formal apology to Mariota. Did y'all see what Ben Jones said about how he and Mariota had to call plays for the second half of the divisional game because
Robiscuits.
Robisky. Go ball out, y'all got it. What?
Did you see that clip?
Craziness. Yes.
Yeah. Nuts. That they were talking about 2-minute, 4-minute drills because of the Cam Ward, the way that he turned it on in this game. And Ben was like, hey, by the way, with me and Marcus, Robisky would just tell us, he's like, here's how it usually goes. Usually it's numbers. And everybody knows, it's 33, and that gives a protection to the offensive line. It gives routes to the receivers, and it's an easy thing for the quarterback to communicate. And the play callers in their ear telling, okay, that's what it usually is. He's like, but us with Robisky, nothing like that. He would just tell us, go out there, boys, have some fun. Y'all got it. And Ben Jones and Marcus desperately trying to figure out how to run plays. And he was like, that's why we ran so many draw plays in the second half of that divisional round game, because we were trying to fit the run and we couldn't just run a halfback dive because of the way that the safeties were blah, 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 blah. So we were running, and there's a reason why. There's a very good reason. First of all, conspiracy theory fans at the time were theorizing that Robisky just straight up wasn't calling plays. Fans were right, turns out. So the conspiracy was real. But more than that, there was a reason why the Titans won their first playoff game in 14 years. And Amy still fired the head coach after that. And it's because the head coach would not part ways with Robisky. His loyalty to Robisky was too strong. He was willing to literally die from a career perspective for Robisky, which was foolish. He should have thrown Robisky to the Wolves, because what a crazy time.
Yeah, absolutely. Ann Herndon keeps us going here. Says, shade to my medial meniscus. Medial, whatever. I'm not doing good with pronunciation.
Your father would be extremely disappointed in your lack of medical terminology.
He would. Hey, Ann, you got to go to the Bone and Joint Institute.
Ann, shade on Ann for not being here when we needed her last week during
It probably was because of this. We needed her in her greatest moment.
Ann, now that you are, I'm assuming, cooped up with your knee on ice or whatever is happening, which I do genuinely feel bad for you for. You better show up for trivia this week because we need you.
Yeah, fair enough. Nero says, shade on people thinking we can't run off 13 straight games.
Good point. Well, there was a
good.
comment at the very beginning of the show. Jack Longley says, terrifying. Brian Callahan now has a chance to save his job. If he somehow beats the Raiders and the Patriots, his seat cools immediately. This is true. And it also speaks to my point last week when we were in the muck and the mire of this narrative cycle. And I just kept saying every week that they don't fire Brian Callahan is a new opportunity for this team to stumble into a win and complicate things. And it's exactly what happened. And if they win this week, it further complicates things. And if they, like yesterday, Zach asked me on the show, like, is there a way Brian Callahan saves his job? I'm like, well, they could just not lose. They could win the rest of the games, and you're not firing him if they win the rest of the games. So careful.
Yeah. Eric says, shade on self-checkouts. Not everyone should be allowed to use them.
Okay, that's fair. I thought he was shading the fact that we have them. And as somebody that likes to have, like, music or podcasts playing in my ears while I'm doing grocery shopping and running errands, and I don't want to, like, this is antisocial and probably bad of me, but I don't want to interact with people at the grocery store. I'd rather just check the things out. But I'm wondering if he's like the attendant, because one of the people in life that I feel the worst for is the person that's the self-checkout attendant. That person has to deal with some real morons.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think there should be also a limit, like 20 items or less at self-checkout. The people who show up with 70 items in there.
The mom of 7 that has 2 overflowing carts. Yeah.
Why are you making it harder for yourself? Go have them.
Get help.
Ridiculous. Darren here. I not a fan of Darren, but you'll like this one, Easton. He says, shade on Mets ownership. $370 million to miss the playoffs. Yankees fan here, not much better. You're right, Darren. Enjoy a sweep of your DS here. Enjoy that one in ruining Aaron Judge from the Mets fan, sincerely.
Hey, at least Mets ownership, you know.
Hey, guess what? Here's the thing. It's not like he's not going to just spend another $370 million again.
I'll do it again.
Try next year.
I'll do it again.
We're just going to get back on the horse next year. So,
the Mets will never make you happy.
Yeah, no, they never will. Jeff says, shade on Michigan fans saying Matty P would be an awful hire at Ohio State because of the Lions, best defensive coordinator in college.
The Matt Patricia renaissance. What is this Matt Patricia's comeback part like 4? I feel like he's died and come back many times at this point. But he's got a good defense. So what can I say?
Exactly. Let's see what else we've got here. Easton, do you have shade that you want to throw? We can do this one. Shade on NCAA rules taking away the KSU touchdown when Brown got his helmet ripped off on a clear go-ahead touchdown catch. I understand why the rule is in place, but it's frustrating. That's fair.
My shade is along those lines. It's a football shade. I don't know if anyone watched the game last night, the Jaguars-Chiefs game. Very fun game. Hilarious. Speaking of a hilarious ending for Trevor Lawrence. If you've ever wondered, like, what an AI prompt, like if you prompted AI, show me a baby horse scoring a touchdown, like a newborn horse. We saw it in real time. It was Trevor Lawrence last night scoring the game-winning touchdown. He looked like a baby giraffe who'd just been born. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I can't really explain it any further. You just got to go watch the clip. But if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Before that ending, which was exciting, the Jaguars' win was put in jeopardy by a pick, not even a pick play, like a block by the Chiefs secondary. I think it was Parker Washington on the route, and Trevor Lawrence tries to throw just a quick in-breaker to Parker Washington. But he gets, I mean, it's like, it was like first baseman in the base path, like clearly and obviously illegal by the defense. And Parker Washington gets ragdolled, and it's an interception, and it leads to a Chiefs touchdown eventually. It's so clear and obvious on the replay that it is a flag. And in the big 2025, when we have replay assist, when we have every camera angle in 4K, when we have the internet to sit and watch and react to the fact that they just got so screwed, I can't accept the fact that it's an acceptable thing for us to all just be like, wow, yeah, that's crazy. They got screwed. And for the NFL to sit there and go, wow, yeah, crazy. They got screwed. You're the one doing the screwing. Unscrew them. Just call down and say, hey, y'all missed that big time. Throw a flag right now. And then if the Chiefs are mad, put it on the screen, put it on the Jumbotron and say, see, look at that. You can't do that. So I don't know how you fix it exactly, but it sits wrong with me that we can just be like, oh, well, you lost. They didn't lose. Luckily, even in the age of replay assist not helping with everything, the laws of ball don't lie still apply. So thank God for that. The ball did not lie for the Jaguars. It almost did, though, and that's what's infuriating to me.
One more shade before we get to mine, and mine just keeps getting better. I've been sitting on this all show. So Charlie says shade on Chris Jones for standing there watching T-Law just fall and run in the end zone. By the
way, insane loaf.
Yes,
insane,
absolutely. But my shade, this is gonna be a good one. I'm getting a lot of comments here.
Does your shade have to do with Facebook?
Oh yes, it does. Okay. Jeff, my shade is on Jeff Ribble in the comments today.
Big Ten Jeff.
Which, first of all, he did give us a super chat, and he said, if I'm the Titans, I do what I can to draft Cardinal Tate. If he declares this year, would be a great wide receiver one, opposite of Io Manor, and can help Cam. Absolutely. Thank you for your contribution. Jeff. I'm now going to...
I was going to say, before your actual shade on Jeff, not shade for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Shade on you for trying to talk about draft. Titans just won a game. We're talking about the draft.
Absolutely.
Stop it.
Ashley goes on there. Yeah, Jeff earlier in the show at 8:34 this morning says, when JT reads comments, 17 YouTube comments, just one Facebook comment. Ashley says shade at JT for never reading Facebook comments. We have something to say too. P.S. He won't see this. Believe me, I saw this because my shade is on. Ashley, you need better of your Facebook friends. The entire chat this morning was flooded with Facebook people of 4 people debating a Colts game from like 2 weeks ago. It has nothing to do with our show today.
What were they debating?
Some rule about the Indianapolis Colts game. Like Jeff is in here with Edwards saying that stats definitely lie, and they're having an argument over how he's wrong. And I want to see your comments, Ashley. I really do. But when you have Jeff and 4 other people talking about a Colts game it just
has nothing to do with us.
Everything else down so that I can't see it when we're having this conversation. What are we doing?
What are you supposed to do?
You started also the Facebook chat also started off the show for the first 15 minutes talking about Trevor Lawrence, which by the way, this is a Tennessee Titans show. Like we're talking about the Colts and we're talking about I understand that Facebook chat answers y'all questions, but your questions then get put in the middle of Jeff and 3 other people talking about a specific call in a Colts game and saying that AI is telling me actually that penalties happen blah 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 so many times in games.
Brother.
Like what are we doing?
Yeah, here's the other thing. It's easy to just go to the YouTube chat if you think that there's a grand
Sorry, I'm not saying I
read YouTube chats, then go to the YouTube chat.
Yeah, but hey, it is what it is. I'm asking you all to be better.
Be better.
Because we do want to see Ashley's comments. We do.
Absolutely. People are.
I've created some infighting.
There's a lot here in the chat that we don't have time to get to.
YouTube chat stinks. Facebook chat stinks. We've got some fighting here in the. We've got some fighting.
Any A to Z staffer is willing to admit that Daniel Jones is better than Trevor Lawrence. Anybody? Bueller? You are? Oh, gross.
Yeah,
all right, well, the rest of us
Trevor
aren't.
Lawrence.
So there you go, Nick. You got one. Congrats. Absolutely not. That's crazy town. All right. That's our show. I hope everybody has a great rest of your Tuesday. I'll be at the facility today talking to Titans coordinators. We'll get some questions in for them. We'll get some footage from them. Number of things being written at A2Zsports.com today, so keep an eye on that. And then I'll be back for prime time tonight. We'll talk about what the coordinators had to say. We'll do a Q&A. Whatever you guys want to talk about, I'll be here at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on the A to Z Sports YouTube channel. So like this show before you go. Subscribe to the A to Z Sports Nashville YouTube channel before you go so that you don't miss prime time later tonight. And then the morning show tomorrow. And until then, hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday.